All right. I think we're live. The product webinar for March 26, where we showcase what we've been building here at Rentman. We usually do that once a quarter, normally from the cafe here at our office in Utrecht. We have a nice setup there, but unfortunately, the guy who managed our professional AV equipment got sick today. Hence, we are in meeting rooms presenting it, but I think the content will be still exciting. We wait a few minutes till everybody is here. Why don't you guys let us know where you're calling in from? We're based in Utrecht, and in this side we have Matt from our Toronto office. He will be answering some of your questions today as well. But let me know where you guys are calling it from. You can use a QR code, and especially if you're in from France or Belgium, we want to know because we have some things particularly for you. Also, Spain is interesting.
We had some exotic destinations a couple of times, so let's see.
Yeah, Austria, the USA. Right, so we have people from Europe, for which it's now, I think, 4 o'clock. People calling in the morning. Germany, Belgium, not a Belgium, Germany. Aha, we have a winner here, it feels like. The Netherlands, GPB. I met you guys at the community event. Amersfoort,
Pretty close
Orlando.
by. Yeah.
Cool. Quite a mix of the group. The Netherlands is still quite big. Canada is now winning. Cool to see so many different countries here.
Sunny
But I
Spain,
think we
not too
waited.
bad. Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, we have something for Spain. Cool. I think everybody's here. We waited long enough. Good to see you. Let's get started. What are we going to present today? So I'm here for some general improvements, smaller things that we changed on our platform, and then I'll hand it over to Lode for the bigger workflows and the bigger features we've been working on. Let's get started. So again, for me, the general improvement. My name, by the way, is Roy, and I'm the CEO and founder. 14 years ago, I founded this company. And today I talk about faster loading. So for us, it is important that our software is fast, right? We recognize that you spend a lot of time in our software, and then every second you need to wait is 1 second too much. So we invested quite a bit in making a different architecture on the background that also for bigger projects significantly speeds up your equipment availability. So if you work on big project with a lot of equipment lines, complex availability calculations, you probably noticed that we made that quite a bit faster, and we will be rolling that out in the next few weeks. So everybody should have it as of today. Folders. So we have projects, and people tend to upload quite a different type of files to it. So drawings from a location, images are created, maybe quotes or invoices that you created yourself. And we've been asked a lot to structure that more. For this, now we added the folder structure. You can add folders. And I think the cool thing is if you synchronize Rentman with Google Drive or Dropbox to Zapier, we also sync this folder structure that you always have the right things at the right place, also on your local computer or your local servers if you want that. Communication overview. In Rentman, we send quite a lot of notifications, invites, signed quotes, paid invoices, all that kind of things. And there was not really a way to see who has saw these notifications or has gotten the notifications. We have multiple channels, email, web, an app. And now you can, in the software, get one view of where that it's all visible. I can quickly demo. Here in the communication part, we have the communication log. These are my views, and I can basically filter that on my crew member so I can see what Lode has received through email. And I can check if, for instance, he has seen the online quote that I just sent out. So it's cool. You probably won't use the log, but if you want to know, hey, has this person got a message from me? You can find it here now. Local integration. So I saw some people from Spain, Belgium, and France zooming in or calling in. You probably need to be compliant with PEPL, Verifactu, or TicketBay. We know that in France it is required from September on, and we are launching the features to make sure that you're compliant. Yeah. And then we have the adding equipment model. So over the years, we hear people still struggle a bit with how to set up your equipment correctly. I can quickly demo that. So if I add my equipment here, we have quite some options. So for instance, we have a CD 3000 for 50 euros. We need first specify if it's rental or sales, and then we can say is it a physical item or combination. And now in this model, we give you more insight in what to choose when and what it actually means. So every time you click something, you see what is used best. And I think it has a little detail here. When we press the search, it immediately searches Google for your image, and you can add the equipment here. Small improvement, but it just made it a bit simpler to understand how you should configure your equipment. That's it from me. These are the small improvements. The real stuff, I'm going to give it to Lode.
Okay, thank you, Roy. Let me share my screen. Okay, I think you all should be able to see it now. Yeah. Okay, thanks for the improvements. And yeah, those were some small improvements you will notice straight away. Let's now dive a bit deeper and see what updates we brought that really change your operations and your workflows in Rentman. It's really about purchase orders and quoting, and yeah, let's dive a bit into what we did. And I think we can start with a story that covers yeah, how we do this development at Rentman. Because I think it was about a year ago. Yeah, I think it was March 2025, where I was also in the webinar and I presented the launch of purchase orders. So back then, you were able to create a purchase orders for your sub rentals and for your additional costs. And yeah, the feedback that you guys gave was truly amazing. Actually, it was very well received, and we saw also that a lot of people, yeah, needed more. So that's, we listened to the feedback and we expanded to this generic costs, like adding general costs to your purchase orders, like yeah, sending buying a new laptop or adding some warehouse shelving. And yeah, then we recently also added the accounting integration, actually. So now you're able to push your purchase orders from Rentman directly to your Xero or your QuickBooks accounting software. And yeah, we kept adding features to these purchase orders in Rentman because you guys kept on asking for it, and we saw that everyone really loved this functionality. But you also said that there was still pieces missing for you, and I think for many of you, yeah, hiring this freelancer it's more than just scheduling them on the job, right? It often is about creating this formal, legally binding agreement with them. And right now, you still had to do that, yeah, entirely outside of Rentman. So you had your function inside of Rentman with all the dates and the rates. Then you had to switch to a separate tool. Maybe use your older accounting integration for that, and you had to manually retype all the information in there, and yeah, add the rates and the dates and the additional expenses, and then you could only email to your freelancer. Yeah, that requires a lot of double work, right? So the information is already in Rentman, and then you have to re-enter it in your other software. So yeah, double work, and yeah, that could lead to a bunch of mistakes. You make a typo, maybe you're talking about a different date than the project is actually in, or maybe you miss an expense that is already in a project, but not in a purchase order. So yeah, that could result in some issues down the line. And secondly, in a lot of industries, it's common industry practice, right, to send out a purchase order and have this official confirmation. And a lot of freelancers don't even act without having this purchase order document. So not having these labor purchase orders in Rentman results in a bunch of workarounds that slow you down, and that can lead to some annoying mistakes. So that's actually why I'm happy to announce that we introduced labor purchase orders in the last few quarters, and that really allows you to create and send purchase orders specifically for your crew members and directly from within Rentman. So how does it exactly work? You basically go to this crew scheduling tab, and you select one or multiple crew members, which you schedule on your functions. And then from there, you can generate individual purchase orders for each and every of your crew members. And yeah, the freelancer or the staffing company is set as a supplier of that purchase order. So there is no need for you to re-enter those dates or rates or whatever. It's all synced together nicely in the purchase order. And we also knew that with this purchase order, it's not only labor, so it's also a lot of times it's about travel or accommodation or catering or those kind of things. So with the launch of labor purchase orders, we also added crew expenses, and this allows you to add some costs and some pricing to that function and bundle them all together into one purchase order. And those expenses can be configured in different levels, right? So you can configure them on your default functions to get some consistent pricing across all your projects. And you can also change them in the planning phase or when you schedule a crew member. And then once you did that, you can just follow the purchase order flow like you're used to. So you can submit it for approval. You can get it reviewed by someone else in your company. And then as soon as it's reviewed and approved, you can generate it and send it to your freelancer or staffing company. So I'll do a quick demo here on how that exactly works. I'm here in the Soul Train Tour demo project, where here on the left you see my default functions, and here you can manage your default functions, which brings you to this table here. And here you see all the costs and the prices that are connected to these expenses for those default functions, which you can edit. Then as soon as you schedule those functions onto your project here, we created this view expenses, where you get an overview of all the costs and the prices of those expenses in your project. So now you can select a couple of functions, and if you edit them, you can also edit the expenses for the specific project. So maybe for these ones, you don't want to have 0, but 30 euros for the meals, and for the lodging, they will get 100 euro, and you will also charge 100 euros to your customer. So then you save, and it's automatically applied to your functions. And then in the crew scheduling part, you can actually start to schedule people on those functions. So here I've already selected all the technicians for this job, and I can here go to George and James and add those to the technician function, and then I can create purchase orders for them. But let's say, for example, I spoke to James, and he needs to come from a bit further. So he said, like, these travel costs are not enough for me. So I want to change some stuff for him specifically. So I can go here and press the filter for George, and I can select the expenses view. And here I can in bulk change the costs for George. So then for travel, I can give him 30 euros as well, and I can save the project. And what I can do then is select all functions where George is scheduled on and add them to one purchase order. So now I click on add purchase order, and I created a specific number series for labor purchase orders in this case. You can do that in the configuration module. I confirm. And here I follow my regular purchase order flow like you're used to. So the costs of all the functions are added in this overview. And in this case, I have the right user role to already self-approve my purchase order. And in this case, I can generate a document with these settings here. I see I probably have to quickly refresh the page. And if I create a document, we see that we get the overview of all the functions that I ask him to do for this project. And here there's also a breakdown added of all the extra expenses that we have assigned to him. So here you see that the travel for 30 euros a day is also included in those breakdown prices of the functions that are on this page. So yeah, that's how you work with labor purchase orders, and then you'll get the purchase order also up to appear here in the purchase order screen in your project. Cool. So yeah, that's how you should work with labor purchase orders. I think it's a super useful addition, and yeah, I think if you didn't give it a try, just give it a try, and I think it really changes the workflow of how you deal with labor in Rentman. The next thing I quickly wanted to highlight this because it's a little nice button that can be maybe a bit hidden for the people that maybe have been new to Rentman, but I think it does add a lot of value. I will just show you how you can actually do the crew planning on two different screens. So if we are here in the crew planner part, there is this button here that opens this bottom part on a second screen. So it pushes your crew planner to two different screens. So on your left screen, you have this top part, and on the right screen, then you have the crew members part, which basically does this for the two screens. And a nice part here is that it syncs the dates here, right? So as soon as I change dates in one of my screens, it also updates on the second screen there. And then it's way easier, definitely during high season if you have to schedule a bunch of different projects at the same time. Yeah, it's easier to get overview like that. Okay, that was it for the quoting and invoicing. So let's sorry, that was it for the crew members part. Let's go to the quoting and invoicing. And for the people who were here last webinar, I think it was September 25. Yeah, I quickly spoke about the online quoting, and I couldn't demo anything back then because it was still in development. But last couple of quarters, this came live, and yeah, I just want to give you a quick recap of how it works and what problems it solves, because this problem was fairly simple. You generate a PDF quote and you send it to your customer. But then you're flying blind. You're sending it and you have zero visibility in what happens. You don't know whether they've opened it, how many times they've opened it. Are they interested? Should you follow up already? Those were all questions that you couldn't really answer. And as soon as there was a new version or you needed to do a revision, you ended up in this ping-ponging conversation about what was the latest version of your quote. And yeah, there were some confusions there, and online quote solves these problems basically. So instead of creating, you still create a PDF, but now you upload it to this online page, which is really like an online personalized page that you can customize a bit yourself, and you can really gain insights in your customer behavior. So you can see how many times they viewed the quote, when the last time was that they viewed the quote. So you can really time your follow-up questions with your customers. And the nice part is that your customer they can view it or request changes or approve it. So that's it really adds to the flow. And then when you create a new version, everything is published to this same link, right? So let's say you make some changes to your quote, you push the changes to the same platform, you have the same link, and all communication is just still on that same link for your customer, and they can also see the history of the quotes that have been published to that platform. So this is really a way for you to stand out from the competitors, and it gives you a more modern and streamlined flow of how you do quoting within Rentman. So let me quickly show you how it works. I created a demo event here, which is still in pending, or maybe it's in concept basically. And I want to add a quotation here, so I can generate the quote. And then there is this publish button here on the right, and you see it's currently unpublished and has 0 views. And as soon as I press publish, I can add some web-based introduction text and change the name of the project and add some media here. Yeah, for the user to see, basically, for your customer to see. I already added a template here in the site section with a welcome text in an informal way. So I introduce them by the first name with some variables, and then I use my username as another variable. And then I can it's password protected by default in the configuration module. You can remove the password if you want, but for this one, it's password protected. And then I can publish the page. I need to copy over the password in this case, which I can send to my customer. And here I can view the quote, basically. And if I were to be a customer, then I can sign the quote or request changes, and then those changes flow back into Rentman as a notification, which I can then solve and take into account. And here the terms and conditions you can open or download as well. And then basically it works with cookies. So right now, because I viewed it and I'm logged in into Rentman already, it has 0 views. But if my customer would view it, then it would increase 1, and then we will also see when it was the last time that they viewed this quote. So this really streamlines your quoting process. And if you haven't tried it out, please do, because we see that a lot of people really love this feature. And if you have any feedback for us, that's also more than welcome, of course. Okay, so let's go to the warehouse and to the inventory and see what changed there. So this is really for the people who work a lot with repairs, basically, because imagine this: you're working on site and you're setting up the stage, and you plug in your moving head because you want to install it for the job. But you clearly hear it's damaged. Like, you hear the motor is making a bit of a weird noise. So you're obviously not going to use it for the project, and you want to take it down, label it, put it back in the case, and then and mark it for repair. What happened in the old flow is that you couldn't really follow the real life situation, because as soon as you marked the item as repair, it will automatically be booked back to returns. So your warehouse status did not reflect the actual location or the actual status of that equipment item that was in repair. And this resulted in people missing those to be repaired items when booking back and return, because in the software they were already booked back to return, while in reality they were still on location and waiting for the end of the project to go back to the warehouse. And then secondly, when you looked at the list of repairs, it wasn't always clear what the status of each repair was. So it was hard to tell what was going on at a glance. So you had to implicitly derive the repair status from, okay, is there an end date, yes or no? And then you had this item cannot be used or can be used, and what happens if you already put an end date. So that was not very clear for some users. So we took that into account. And then actually there was a third problem for your technical department, where as soon as this item was sent off for repair, and they would look at it and found out it was basically beyond saving, so it was unrepairable, and they had to do a bunch of manual actions to fix this. So they had to open the equipment module, go to search the serial number, go to the serial number, set it to inactive to reduce it from the stock. And basically a lot of manual actions before you could achieve just a simple step, basically. So this is what we improve with these warehouse improvements, where first of all you mark items for repair, so on site, and they will stay on location, and you will be notified when booking back. So when you mark the item as repair, you can decide now to either book it back to return immediately, or you leave it on location, and then you will be notified when you book it back with all the other equipment. Besides, we added an explicit repair status, so you know exactly where each repair stands. Right here in the image on the right, you see that there is now in progress, unrepairable, and completed. And this unrepairable actually brings me to the next point, because this will be in the version of next week. So it's a new feature that will be there. And this really is for your technical department that can mark those items as unrepairable. That means that when they find out that the item is beyond saving, they can just say like, hey, this is unrepairable, and Rentman will do all the stock adjustments automatically for you already. So you don't have to go to the equipment, find the serial number, set it to inactive, leave a note. That's all what Rentman will do automatically as soon as you mark the item as unrepairable. So that really saves you a lot of time. And lastly, as part of these warehouse improvements, we also added some way to easier manage your equipment locations. So the location where they are in your warehouse. So you can now in bulk change your warehouse locations, and do that also change the warehouse location from the mobile app. So if you walk around the warehouse and see something that is not on the place where it's supposed to be, or the warehouse shelf location changes, then you can do that also from the app. And you can also see the different locations of your equipment item at the same time. So I will quickly show you how that looks like in Rentman. Here in the warehouse module, I prepared a little project where I can book my equipment. And here I have a CDJ 3000, which I want to report defective, mark as repair. And let's say I take this serial number, and there is now return selected equipment here. You can either put it on no, it's by default it's on no, because it will remain on location, or you can put it on yes, and it will be pushed to returned. For now, we leave it on no, and we can mark it as defective. If we then go to the maintenance module, we now see that I quickly opt in the default view here. We now see that this Pioneer is here in repair with the in repair status icon or label there as well. And if we open it here, we now have a status part here that says, is it either in progress, is it completed, or is it irreparable? And this was the part where I spoke about with the irreparable thing where the item is beyond saving. So if we mark it as irreparable and confirm, it will get the label unrepairable, and it will also add a little note to your serial number here. It will put it as inactive. So here you see active, no. So it will be taken out of your stock. And in the notes section, it says that your serial number is unrepairable. In case you have bulk items, so if maybe you have 3 XLR cables in one repair, you can also split off those repairs. And if only one of those is irreparable, you can just mark one of those as unrepairable, and it will create another repair for the 2 remaining XLR cables that can be repaired, basically. And then there is still in the equipment part, the location in warehouse column that I wanted to briefly highlight. You can now in bulk edit here and change the location in your warehouses for all those items at the same time, and also do it per warehouse. And if you select multiple stock locations, it will also show the stock location, the location in warehouse per stock location, basically. So all those improvements, those are all very targeted improvements, but I think they all together really help you streamline your workflow regarding the repairs in Rentman. So I would definitely recommend to check them out. The unrepairable part, to repeat, will only be there in next week's version. So you don't see it yet, but it will be there live soon. Okay. You can scan the Slido QR code again. We want to spark a bit this conversation about AI. There is a lot to do with AI nowadays. It's almost hard to keep up with all the changes they smash AI onto everything. And we're super curious, how do you think that AI should support you in your Rentman workspace? So think about, there are so many different ways how AI can help you in your day-to-day processes. Maybe you already use AI with Rentman. And then we're also super curious how you do that. I see not. Yeah, there are also definitely some people who don't like to work with AI, or maybe there's some data privacy in there. I see some people do for scheduling, creating a contact from my emails, as few as possible. Not, yes, but I would like to be the agent I use. Okay, so I guess you mean that you want to decide yourself whether you want to use maybe ChatGPT or Gemini, or maybe you want to use Claude. I see some people you would like to use with quotation planning. Also, quite some people who prefer no AI. I can also definitely imagine that. Loading events in 3D space would be super cool. Quotation summaries. There is already actually some AI in our platform where you can add some document text through AI. So then it looks at your project title and some other stuff, and then it can generate some document text for you that just gives you some description of what the project is that you can then add to your quotation. API help, yeah, would be cool. Allow it to help with our Rentman customization. Investment proposals based on subrental rental date. Yeah, maybe as a really like an assistant to help you with the next decision or next buying decision that you need. I see still some participants are typing. Insights for which recurring events are missing. Assistance bot. Yeah, cool. Many inspirations. Let's take this to the team and see whether we can find some trends. Better statistics. Yeah, will be also cool. Okay, let's move to the next one. I hope the Slido stays open so you can still send in some requests. And otherwise, yeah, we're always happy to learn more about this. So let's look a bit into what will be next up this season. Previously, we spoke about things that are already live, and now let's see what's ahead of us. And first of all, I want to talk about this smart imports with validation. So whether you're a new user or you're an existing user at Rentman, I think we all have this spreadsheet with hundreds or maybe thousands of rows of equipment that are in there, and there are prices, there are names, there are serial numbers in there. There is maybe a folder structure, maybe some dimensions. It can be really a lot of data. And what currently happens if you want to import your data, you upload it, you try to map your columns, you press on import, and then you cross your fingers, right? Because if something went wrong with your import, you would only find out until the damage was done, basically. So then you get this red screen saying that the import failed or part of your import failed, and you don't really know what to do. And then some of your data is already in their system, well, maybe possibly with some mistakes. And we also heard that this column mapping is a bit confusing because you had two drop downs, one for serial number, one for equipment, and then we saw people selecting the wrong columns in the setup. Well, previously they did it right, so that could be a bit tricky. And we also saw that what if you find an error in your import sheet, then you had to restart the wizard again and go back to the spreadsheet, upload the sheet again, do all the column mapping again, and that could be quite time consuming. So we know that we could do better there, and we wanted to provide a better experience, and that's why we now spend time on this smart imports with validation, where really the core idea is to validate first and then import second. So basically, what we will do with this project is that you before any data enters your database, we will run a full validation. So we will do a dry run on your data. And then you upload your file, you map the columns, and then Rentman tells you exactly what it will create, what it will update, and where it found some problems. And it's all before any single record is created. So we will do this validation beforehand, and then we will tell you, hey, this is wrong with your data. Maybe you want to look at it before you're actually gonna import it. We also want to do something with the column mapping. I think here it shows you how the new column mapping will look a bit, where it's easier for you to track which columns you have already mapped and which columns you still need to do mapping for, and you can also filter out columns that are already mapped, basically. And with this validation step, it will find the errors for you, and then we let you fix those errors in the same flow, right? So you can fix them in the same import flow, so there is no need for you to go back or re-upload everything. You can just change them in Rentman before you run the import to your system. And if you do want to stick to your Excel sheet, that's also fine, because we can also re-upload the file, and then we will try to remember all the settings and go from there. Yeah, one more thing. This is not only for the equipment import. This will also be for your serial numbers, for your contacts, for your crew members, for your vehicles. So we will align this process throughout Rentman to give a way more forgiving experience. So this project is really aimed to first show what is going to happen before it actually happens, and for you to allow to fix your issues before they actually hit your database that you've worked on so hard already. Okay, and then we have one more foundational change actually that I wanted to put on your guys' radar, because it's such an important change, and we've been investing quite some time already on this topic, and you guys have been asking for it. So I just wanted to put it on your radar to let you know that we are currently working on this. And it's quite a complex topic, but in Rentman today, the times are set on equipment group level, right? So if you do the scheduling for your project, you have your equipment group, and all the items that you put in this equipment group share the same time schedule. They share the same time period. That's fine for 1-day events, but imagine you have like this multi-day festival. So you have your lighting truss needs to go on site from Monday to Sunday, while the projectors that are in the same group, they only need to be there from Wednesday to Sunday. So because they're in the same group, Rentman reserves those projectors from Monday to Sunday as well. Well, you actually only need them from Wednesday to Sunday. So it creates these phantom shortages. So the system says that you're short on projectors, while you're actually not, because they're in the same group. And these phantom shortages, they lead to maybe even unnecessary sub-hire. So you sub-hire some projects that were actually available in your warehouse, or maybe you even turning down projects because you think those projectors are not available. And there is currently a workaround where you can create an equipment group for every single individual equipment line. But yeah, that clutters your quotes because you have a bunch of different equipment groups, and it also is also confusing with packing slips, right? So and it's also a maintenance nightmare because you have to update all the groups basically. And that's really what we tried to solve with this per item equipment times, where we decouple the time schedule from the equipment group, and we really push it down to the individual equipment line. And this sounds like a simple change, but it really opens the door for a lot of the good and complex equipment things, or equipment solutions. So your lighting truss that I was talking about, that can be scheduled from Monday to Sunday, while these projectors that are in the same group, they can now have a different time, and you can schedule those from Wednesday to Sunday. And that's all when you don't need to do any duplicating of groups anymore. And in the warehouse, this is also a very big improvement, because instead of having one big sub-project to pack, your warehouse get a clear packing list that match like multi-day schedules. So on Monday, they will see that they have to pack the lighting trusses. And on Wednesday, they see that they need to pack the projectors, and they see only that on a specific day. Okay, Monday, the lighting truss, Wednesday, the projectors. And this is also super nice for your schedule, right? Because the availability calculations, they are much more accurate, because your projectors, they aren't reserved for other projects. You can actually use them on a project from Monday to Tuesday. So Rentman knows that they're still available, and you don't have these weird phantom shortages anymore, and no more missed revenue. And it opens the door for many other advanced features as well, like the like the equipment rollovers where you book items from one project directly to another project. And it's really necessary for us to create first these right framework changes and data structure changes before we can do something like these rollovers. But I'm telling you that we're working very hard here to achieve that exact goal, to have this more flexible timing and to allow us to do things like these rollover changes. So these per item equipment times, they make sure that you match the real world logistics basically, where your multi-day festivals with these staggered builds, they can be entered correctly in Rentman without having to use all kinds of workarounds. Okay, that's I think enough of me talking. I will quickly give the word back to Roy. There you go.
Thanks, Lode. I think that's also the last slide of today. So it's already a few years ago that COVID hit us, and luckily everything recovered. We're back to normal. But what we keep hearing ever since is the importance of crew, right? So we had a period where there was a real shortage of crew across the industry. I think it's getting better with that shortage. But we recognize that the crew is what sets you apart. Your people is what sets you apart compared to your competitor. Um, and we're really trying to do our best to make sure that your crewing experience, your HR experience, that everything around your people is as best as it can be. And on this journey to invest more on the crewing side, we acquired the Crewzone software. Crewzone is a German workforce management platform. It's used now today for the European and PRG entities to help them with their uh, multi-country touring with large-scale events. And I think it really comprehends our crew solution with a more enterprise crew planning solution. This is about what will you see from us in the next few quarters, and we will bring most of the features from Crewzone over to Rentman to make sure that when it comes to travel, when it comes to compliance, when you do international tours, we also have a solution to help you with these workflows. So that's it on the Crewzone acquisition. We have quite some questions coming in from the audience. We have a small Q&A. Thanks, Lode, again for your part. And if I switch over to my different screen, I see a question from Chris when you talked about repairs. He asked, are you able to create custom statuses? And Lode, do you know the answer to the questions, are we able to create custom statuses in our repairs?
Yeah. In this version, it will not be able to it will not be possible to create custom repairs or like custom repair statuses. We did quite some research in this and really saw like, okay, right now it's mostly it's either in progress, which means that the people are working on it, it's unrepairable, or it's completed, like it's done. If there are any other custom statuses, then we're curious to hear. So then send your feedback over to the support team so we can take it into account. But I think first of all, these three generic statuses can cover most of the flows that you're already used to with working with repairs.
Cool. There's a question from Hugo Lode, especially for you. How did you change the column so fast in the labor purchase order demo? Can I do that too?
Yeah. Okay.
Maybe you can quickly demo that as well.
I will. It's in this screen. So basically, throughout Rentman, there is always a button here in the top right corner for every table, and that allows you to change your column views, right? So in case of the demo that I gave, there's here in the top right corner some default views that we already defined for you. So we have a quoting view, planning view, time registration, and now an expenses view. And then you can quickly change the view based on what you're currently doing. So in case you're quoting, you're more interested in the price per hour or the fixed price that you charge for your functions. And in case you're doing the time registration, you can also get a different view there and you see whether people actually did a time registration or not. And this can be in any view, right? So you can also go to this crew scheduling, and we also define some other views in there. Or maybe if you want to get a custom view in the equipment module, then there's the same thing where you can pick one, and you can also create your own view with columns, add filtering, add some text, and you can decide to either use it for only yourself or to publish it for everyone in the same workspace. So it's a very powerful view to pick whatever you want to see.
Cool, cool. Yeah, and a question from Aaron. Sometimes I'm a bit lost on what is included in the new version. Could you tell me a bit more about how you do release at Rentman and where I can find what changes?
Yeah. It's I think it's good to tell a bit about how we do these releases. It's like every week we make this build, basically is how we call it, and or a version, and that gets built over the weekend, and then on Monday we do like a testing version. We test it. We try to break it to also, and then if we didn't break it and think it's a good version, then we can migrate all the customers to that version. And in your Rentman account, you can actually go to the help center and check here the what's new. And I would highly recommend you to go to the view the change log, where we basically show you all the changes that we do throughout the different versions. And here you can really see what is new per version and keep track of all the changes that we have been doing.
Cool, cool. And Lode, you talked about this change to the equipment timeline. So the question from Fabian, it would be very helpful if it's possible to send all or just certain equipment directly from one job to the next. The system should forward the QR code to the next job. Is that possible?
Yeah, so I think this is part of rollovers that we quickly spoke about, right? So we know that this is a functionality that a lot of you have been asking about, and I think this is also a huge part of what we try to focus on right now. And as part of sending this equipment from one job directly to another job, we need to decouple these time schedules before we can do that. But I think it's good for you to know that we are actually working very hard to achieve that, because we hear that the pressure on the equipment availability increases, and there's more and more equipment flowing from one project directly to another one. So it's definitely on our radar, and it's something that we will be working on.
Yeah, so we released in two parts, right? So first we make it possible to have individual items with a different timeline, because then if they go to a different job, they have different times. And then next to that, we launched the visual part, where you're also able to plan and get more insights in about the different flows, how we help you plan these rollovers.
Yeah.
Cool. Question on the online quotes. We rent mostly B2B, but also private persons. Do you think online quotes are easy to use for non-business customers?
Yeah, I think you can use the same flow for B2B as well as B2C. In Rentman, you can select whether a contact is either a company or a private individual. In case it's a private individual, it's for your B2C customers, and then basically nothing changes. So you can send the email to your B2C customer, and they can just open the same link and go through the same flow. Maybe it's nice for them if you remove the password to make a bit clearer and faster flow. But in general, you can just use the same flow as you're used to with your B2B customers.
Cool. Question from Brenda. Uh, is there a way to put prep on the calendar as its own separate type of event that has no effect on the quote for the event? Um, so she wants to plan her prepping time. And I think the way we intended that is that we use shifts for that. So in the crew planning, you can plan on functions, but you can also create shifts. And these shifts are more used for general tasks like a day in the warehouse or prepping an event. And in that case, you can have the two separated. The other way to do it is work with tasks. We also release something around the task later. But when you want to plan your prep, we at this time advise you to use our shifts function. Is there a way to create a purchase order and then attach it to a specific project after it has been created? Do you know that, Lode?
The way how purchase orders work in Rentman is that as it needs an item in the project before it is attached to this project, right? So you need to have a project cost in that purchase order in order to show it in the purchase order tab on your project. So either it's a reservation of a sub-rented equipment item, or it's an additional costs, or it is a crew member that has a labor purchase order connected to it. Those will be things that make your purchase order appear in the purchase order tab because it has to do something with the project. If you want your purchase order to appear in a different way, then you made some costs on that project that are also connected to this purchase order, so it should appear automatically on your project. But if you create just generic costs that are not connected to anything, then they won't be on your project.
Cool. We have quite some questions about the repairs that you showed. For instance, in the drop down of serials for the repair, can it show just the serials that are on site? I don't think that's possible at the moment. Do you think so?
In the drop down of serials for the repair, can it show just the serials that are on site? Okay, so I think you mean this part. Here where I report defective, and then here there's a long list of all the serial numbers. I think if you work with the mobile app, for example, you can long press on the serial number, and then it will automatically select the serial number already for that repair. So if you long press or you swipe left or right, I don't remember correctly, and then it will already pre-select that serial number in your repair. So you're not bothered with selecting the right serial number anymore.
Cool. Then there's another question around the repairs. Can I see on which project I have marked the repair? So you made a repair. Which project?
Okay, so how that currently works is you can see it if you charge the costs to your customer. So in case of this CDJ 3000, you can report a defective, and let me now select serial number 10. And let's say I charge the costs to my customer. Here's a new price of 2,179 euros. And if I now mark it as defective, the stock of the serial number and the repairs do not match. Okay. This serial number is now currently in another status. Let me quickly create to do this one and delete this one, and go back to the warehouse module. And if I now report this as defective, it's not in this list anymore. Sorry, wait. No, I did it wrong. Okay, and now if we open a project and go to the additional cost tab, then you see that this Pioneer CDJ 3000 is defective and we charge to the customer. That is basically the link between the repair and the project. If you open the repair itself, then from there, I don't think it's possible to see from what project it came. We do add a history of repair, so you can keep track of what else has already been repaired for this specific serial number. Hope that answers your question.
And while you have the repair open, is it possible, a question from Thomas, to have multiple serial numbers on a single repair? So one repair with multiple serial numbers on it?
No, so you create one repair per serial number. It is possible to do this for bulk items. So if you have a bulk item, then you can add multiple at the same time. So in this case, I can look for an XLR cable. I need to find don't know a bulk item on top of my head for this one. Yeah, okay, so here we can add a quantity of 4. So if in case your item is bulk, then you can add a quantity to it, but otherwise for serial numbers, you have to create an individual repair for each and every repair of your serial number.
Got it. question about our roadmap from Floris. Use our API and he wants more endpoints. So create updates in the least. I think that's something that's currently on our radar, right? So it is not the case that we all of a sudden make sure that everything is creatable, updatable, and delete, but we will generally add more endpoints. And the big reason for this is that we limit it right now because it's quite easy to corrupt your database, right? So if you update something or you insert something that's wrong data, want to prevent that our software doesn't work anymore. And therefore we're a bit careful on how we roll it out, but it's for sure on our radar. I see that the questions are drying up a bit. Maybe the last one to wrap it up, a question from Diego. Another valuable feature would be the availability to import equipment into a project from an external rental request, rather than the other way around. In other words, we should be able to create an external rental and import the equipment from a CSV file at that time. Diego, if I understand you correctly, you would be helped already by importing the equipment from a CSV file, and that today is already possible. Lode,
Yeah,
would it make sense if you quickly show that?
Yeah, so if you're in the projects module and well, let's just get a demo event, and you're in the equipment tab. There is here, it is a bit hidden. I'm not gonna lie. There's here an import button, and here you can actually upload a CSV to your project. And you can import as always new rows, and then you can upload the file, and then it will actually match all the equipment in your Rentman. And if it doesn't match, you can fill in a matching item, and then it will remember the matching item. And then as soon as you import it, it will add all these items that are in your CSV, and it will add to your project. A lot of users also use this for their CAD software. So they first build stages in another software. They export a full list and then they import it to Rentman. But this can also be used with your external rental requests. If they're actually Rentman users, you can also send rental requests to other Rentman users if you know their workspace. And then they will end up in the rental requests here. So if you're talking to another Rentman user, you can share that between different workspaces.
Cool. All right. Thanks a lot. I think it makes sense if we leave it here. Thanks a lot for your time. I hope that we could answer some of the questions you had. I hope that you're excited about the thing that we built. We're going to do this every quarter. We're doing this every quarter. So hope to see you in 3 months, and then we'll demo you what we've been building since. Thank you very much for your time.
Yes, thank you.